Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends. Welcome to JCB Live. Today, for this wonderful happy hour, we're going to taste great wines with a fabulous winemaker, a man with a lot of charisma and vision. He started a great winery, Longevity Wines, with his beautiful wife, and he has a great vision for the wine world. At large, he's as well the president of the Association of African-American Vintners. We're so proud of what he's doing, as well as his board, that we decided, obviously, as well, to donate to this incredible organization to really help achieve their goals. And he's going to tell us all about it. He makes wine with a lot of style, wonderful varietals. He's based out of Limomore, and he sells them all over the nation. Dear friends, meet the nominee to the Wine Enthusiast Award, Mr. Phil Long. Woohoo!
Good afternoon, Jean. How are you?
Hey, Phil, I'm even better now that I opened a bottle of bubble and it went all over the table.
Well, I'm going to pour a little bit of that as well. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here, and you guys are doing a great job of what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Phil. We got to start, besides anything else, I love your left arm. Show us your beautiful tattoo on the left here as you went to, ooh, very cool. So what does it represent?
It is the exact heart you see on the label right there next to you. So here's the story. So the story, my wife and I started Longevity, and we opened commercially in 2008. In 2009, we were rebranding, and we wanted to come up with something that really represented us. So I designed the heart, and if you look at it closely, it has other hearts, grapevines, and grapes in it.
I love it.
It's inspired from the glass hearts that I would give Deborah on Valentine's Day. Every Valentine's Day, I'd give her glass hearts. So her whole life became hearts, and that's what inspired the label. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in May of 16. We lost her in January of 19, but I did take her with me to get this put on my arm so she knows she's always going to be here.
Well, congratulations, one, for making us all jealous now of what you did for Valentine. You putting us in trouble now. We're gonna have to make a
I've heard that
before. and two, for having created something with her, and in many ways she's still with you because you're building this incredible winery that you started, and we commend you. This is
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Cheers. Thank you.
So Phil, big question. If we go back to your life, you were trained as an architect, and
Correct.
you have an architect degree. I'm sure, did you practice architecture a little bit as well professionally?
I never really did. When I got out of college, you could go work for an architect making $7.50 an hour, or I went to work for a design firm designing restaurant interiors. I was making $10 an hour. So I never really practiced architecture, and it's a long road. I mean, when I was in school, I went to Cal Poly Pomona. Ag guys were just the guys with cowboy hats. I had no idea it meant that was part of the wine world. It just wasn't part of the landscape. It wasn't until later in life when I started enjoying wine and enjoying the process, and it's just become another creative outlet for me. You get to use my creativity, whether it's label design, photography, videography, creating sales, as you and I well know.
That's right. That's the key. But did you, so after this degree, what did you do for a while before you get into the wine business? Because it's such an interesting path. And, a lot of our friends with us today, and I could see it already on the chat, how do you transition from architecture design to actually making wine and promoting wine? How is that process?
Literally, it was a long way. I was always in the creative field. I was running companies' creative departments. And when Deborah and I were in Southern California in the early 2000s, a company had been looking for a creative director in Northern California for years. And they found me and they moved us up here. And I was there for 13 years, driving by vineyards, which are basically now all my fruit. So once we got up here, we just got the bug and made a little wine in the garage for fun and didn't have any idea what we were doing. And here we are.
Well, it's a great example because for everybody watching, you see, you can casually start in the wine world in your garage and make it big like Phil. So Phil, I love our bubbles, but let's try your Pinot Blanc.
Okay.
And for a moment, before we dive into so many topics we want to talk about, give us a description. And I'm a fan of Pinot Blanc, so I'm delighted that you actually produce one. And with amazing aroma, incredible flavor profile, and you're the king of virtual tasting. So maybe you tell us, about the wine, and then, how you promote those wines so people can find them.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm the king of virtual tastings. I do them. But anyway, this is a little vineyard in Sonol, which is part of the Livermore Valley AVA.
Yeah.
That I drove by this vineyard for 13 years just on the way to work. And when we started making wine, I got to know who owned the vineyard. And there's two varietals grown there, Pinot Blanc and Pinot Grigio. And the Pinot Grigio, we make it in a Ramato style. So it's pink, it's blush, really great flavor. And the Pinot Blanc, we've just worked with year after year after year to try to develop the flavors out of it. It sees no oak, stainless only. We call it our spring release.
Yeah.
And this wine got 90 points from Jim Gordon in Wine Enthusiast.
Well done.
And we're going to continue making this every year. And this particular wine's on sale on our website at longevitywines.com.
Great. And so how do you promote wine these days? Because we cannot really travel. You're obviously very charismatic and charming.
Oh.
And on top of it, you have the hell of a great tattoo, so I'm sure it helps. How do you do this?
It didn't help me with Jen, but that's all right. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
There's still hope.
Okay. So seriously, we partnered last year with Bronco Wine Company to take my wines nationally. And we literally started the travel tour March 1st. Timing is everything.
What a timing.
Yeah, timing is everything. So we quickly, no one knew what was going to happen. Was this a month thing? Is this the end of the world? So once things settled, we pivoted to more virtual launches, and we've been doing a lot of virtual launches to our, national distributors and getting the wine out that way. We're in over 1,500 doors now across the U.S. with our national wines, and we're just going to continue to promote them until we can get back out there, back in the world.
Well, I got to commend you. A friend of ours, Steve Coates, Standard Beverage, in Kansas, emailed me this morning saying, "Oh, I'm so excited you're going to have Phil. We just released his wine virtually." And he was fantastic on the virtual tasting. So it's great.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Hey, on that note, what do you think of the world in general of selling, promoting, and this whole idea of virtual promotions?
I think it's something. Look, I said when the pandemic started, if you don't figure out how to pivot in some way, shape, or form, you're not going to be around because it's not going away tomorrow. We're going to have to learn to deal with it. We've been very fortunate, and we just opened the tasting room again in Labor Day weekend.
Great.
Of course, outdoor tasting only. It's 112 degrees both days. Then the next weekend, you couldn't breathe because of the smoke. But I think what's really helped us is the virtual world where we've partnered with Priority Wine Pass. We do virtual tastings with them. We do virtual tastings on our own. And that's what's really helped us keep going.
And do you think it's there to stay? What's your opinion about this whole digital transformation of the wine world?
I think it is going to be here a long time. I don't think it is going to change 100% this way. I mean, there's going to be a vaccine someday. It's going to go away someday. We just don't know when that is. And until people feel safe and feel like they can get out and not be put themselves at risk, you're going to have to do something else. And I think, that digital world is something else right now.
Hey, I think I found my vaccine. It's right there.
Well, thank you for that. I'm glad you like it.
And it's giving me longevity of life, right? So the more wine of yours I drink, the younger I get and the older I live. Is it how it works?
That's pretty much how it works. My grandfather's been drinking longevity for quite some time, and he just turned 108.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And how many bottles a day does he drink?
Oh, he's not drinking much these days, but he used to have a glass with dinner.
That's great. So now, how did you come up with the name? Because I think it's a brilliant one. And what does it mean to you?
So when we first started playing around with wine, I came up with the name Long Family Cellars. And Deborah looked at me and said, "What family do you see cleaning up this crap we just made?" And I said, "Well, you got a point." So she came up with the name Longevity because our last name is Long.
Yeah.
And so she came up with, we named a blend after her, but it just actually stuck and became the winery's name. And the blend after her then became Debreuve, which is short for Deborah's Cuvée. So
that's fantastic.
Every label, everyone has a story.
Great story. So now you basically do this full time, or you still do design at the same time as wine?
I do this double, triple time now. Yeah, it's been full time for probably about 6 to 8 years for me. So this is all we
Very
do.
cool. And you were just, Phil, congratulations for that. Nominated yesterday, yes, part of the Wine Enthusiast Fantastic Award. So tell us a little bit about that and how you feel about it, and why you were nominated.
When I figure that out, I'll let you know. So I was nominated in the category of social visionary, and I think I'm pretty sure it's through my work with AAAV. Another person in the same category, the Lang twins, Julia Cooney. There's some really big names in there. And this is a list that Wine Enthusiast magazine comes up with every year to honor outstanding contributions to the wine and beverage industry. And I used to look at the list and not even read it because I didn't know anybody. So to actually have my name on the list, and now to actually know people on the list, it's really quite an honor. And it doesn't matter if I win or not, it's just an honor to be on the list.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm so thrilled you are. And I was delighted when I heard that yesterday. God, we can boast and brag about it tomorrow as we're going to be together. So
that's exactly.
So well done. So you know what? For that, I think we should congratulate with John Legend, because with LVE, we actually got the Wine Award of Culture. It was 5 years ago, just when we released the wine. And it was amazing at the event you would attend. John, as a surprise, played for all the crowd on stage.
Wow.
1,000 people in the room at the New York Library, and bang, this was all of me.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah,
so
that's really great.
So, we are, I'm going to keep on your wine because I love Pinot Blanc. I'm a big fan and I know this wine well. So maybe you'll describe the Chardonnay. Tell us what you think. And I have a very important question for you, which is a very big topic these days, about the association you preside. And we very honored if we can join it, and hopefully you'll confirm that to us. Association of African-American Vintners. So that's a very big deal. Tell us about the organization and your role into it. And the wine too.
And the wine too. Well, I'll talk about the wine a little bit first. I love the nose on the wine. It's not, my style is trying to achieve balance, especially in every varietal has a different set of characteristics to achieve balance. Chardonnay, you've got to get that balance of oak, acidity, and fruit right, or else it's just off the rails one way or the other. And I love the fact that you get the oak, but it's not overpowering the fruit.
And John Legend is watching you, so you'd better be complimentary on this one.
This is the best Chardonnay I've ever had in my life.
We love you. Yes. He's going to dedicate a song to you,
Wow. Well, if I ever get to go to an event with you and he, I've already had people start to try to reserve their spots.
Well, I'm sure, Phil, we can arrange it. And I think within the context of the association, I think it would be great to somehow figure something out in the future, because I'm so proud of what you're presiding. So give the context of the association and what you do and what you look for.
So just a little bit of history. The association was started by a gentleman named Mac McDonald back in 2002. And Mac wasn't recognized because he was an African-American winemaker. Mac was making awesome Pinots in Sonoma and was getting a lot of cred for his wine. He made great, and still does make great wine. And he started going to events. And as he puts it, I didn't see nobody that looked like me. So when he did, he started to collaborate and get together. And that's how the association started. I met Mac probably around 2013 at an event for Black History Month. Little did I know that was the time he started grooming me as his replacement. So I became in 2018 vice president. 2018 I became vice president, and then in the beginning of this year I became president. And he's slowly just drinking his gin off to the side right now. So the goal was to jump in the association and try to grow, because there's not that many of us to choose from anyway. But to grow membership among all races and diversities, just really trying to improve diversity within our industry, and not just winemakers and vintners, but somms and business and distributors. So the goal is we're trying to increase diversity across all the platforms. So here we're starting that, and we're planning our annual symposium, and all of a sudden Black Lives Matter happens.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden I went from a guy just trying to improve the association to being like the spokesperson for all African Americans in the industry all over overnight. So it's been a crazy ride. We've seen a surge in membership of several 100%. The donations are coming in left and right. I mean, again, you're part of that, which is fantastic in your efforts. And I think the biggest goal now is, for me, is to not let this just be a blip on the radar. And it really is going to be about partnering with people like you, like Wine Enthusiast Magazine. They're now our media partner in producing our virtual and in-person events and subsidizing membership costs. So it's the people that want to literally keep this going are the important people to us right now, because we just don't want this momentum to die.
I'm so excited to hear this. And, it's the same thing when we started with John. We became friends, and then we started to make the wine you so kindly described, LVE. And it was a little strange because we were in a lot of the concerts, and a lot of African-American and a lot of great friends. And often it was John and I with a glass of wine, and everyone with a beer or spirits or a cocktail, or maybe brown spirits like, bourbon, rum, or maybe cognacs, maybe Armagnacs, and maybe the common denominator was really just champagne. And otherwise, in the parties and the event, it was, a kaleidoscope of different alcoholic beverage. And over the last 5 years, what John has really done in the concerts is really, really enlarge, luckily, the consumption of wine within the African-American community, which I'm delighted to see. So we're meeting more and more people saying, I just needed to taste. And nobody really mentored me into it. So I didn't go there. I love cocktails. I love spirits. That's where I wanted to be. So I agree with you. So what can we do? And I want to talk about the winemaking, the production in a moment, but on the front end of enlarging the African-American community as far as exposition to wine, what do you suggest we do more of?
We've got to create more awareness. I mean, going back to my example earlier, honestly, when the guys that were ag guys had cowboy hats and cowboy boots and they're out there with the cows, I had no idea that that was an industry that also dealt with wine. And in all honesty, in my upbringing in Southern California, I'm not sure I even knew wine was made in this country. It just wasn't part of my upbringing. Wine to me was that 4-foot bottle of Chianti with the basket on the bottom in my dad's corner in his house. That's what wine was. I didn't know any better. So we've really got to create that awareness among not just young African Americans, all youngsters going to school, learning a trade, that it is a trade and it's an option. And you got to start with promoting awareness that it is a career path you can take.
That's right. And that's the very important part. This is why when we became aware of your organization, we were thrilled. And so do you think we should welcome LVE, part of the association? Is it a yes? And we'll
absolutely. What are you waiting on? I think we sent you the paperwork.
Well, just to let you know the good news, they are signed. And
we'll
make
excellent.
sure that they're not only signed by me, but by John as well, so you could frame it, because he's quite...
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
We're delighted for this. So on the production side, you know, coming from France myself, we're very fortunate, obviously, in France to have probably 7-8 million people from Africa who lives in France. So we've seen people in the vineyards, people in the winery, you know, from Africa all along. It's not a surprise as much there, in a sense. It's not enough, but not as much of a surprise. In the US, it was very random and rare that we would get even an application. So how do you suggest we really promote it? How do we bring more people for harvest, vinifications, maybe experiences?
Well, you know, we're working on several scholarships, and we're not just targeting vintners and growers. We're targeting wine business. We're targeting somms. We're targeting wine chemistry. So the more, you know, the more paths and opportunities we can create for students in general. I mean, even with the Napa Valley Wine Academy, we've got scholarships in place that we don't ask that you're African American. We ask the question on the application: how do you plan to create diversity? I don't care what you are, but how do you plan to create diversity in this industry? That's really the end goal, right? We just need to create diversity and create opportunities for everybody. So it's awareness, opportunity, education, and follow through. And there are some great people in the industry doing that right now.
That's right. And we are delighted. So maybe just to talk about one wine, Phil, that I'm delighted, because this wine is obviously generating every day a lot of sales going to AAAV, your organization, as well as a few others. And we created, when this whole happened, you know, with Black Lives Matters, and I need to tell you, as a company, we're very diverse. We operate in 2 countries, but sell wine in 98 countries. And we love selling wine in Africa, not just bubbles, but red wine, white wine. It could be Central Africa, South Africa, Northern Africa. We have great partners and distributors. And we said, we want more people to come in and we want to build awareness. So we literally created JCB Love, love for others, love for all of us on this earth, and unity. So as you can see on the label, this is all about uniting people under the cause, bringing diversity, equality, hope. It's very important. On one side, we have hope right here, because we want, thanks to hope, to allow everybody to have a chance. And I think that's the big deal. So Phil, I'm delighted because we almost sold out of this wine. We're going to make a little more because we want to give more. So you're going to receive a check very soon your way to help.
Well, thank you. That's fantastic. I mean, every bit helps, and you know, we're a nonprofit and it goes straight back into creating opportunity for continued unity, awareness, equality. That's fantastic. So thank you so much for those efforts.
Well, and I want to thank a lot of the people here on the chat and with us today, because many have bought 3 bottles, 6 bottles, and 100% of the proceeds are going to you. So I really want to talk a little more about this, because obviously you have your incredible brand and we're going to taste your beautiful red wine afterwards. But how else do you suggest for anybody not only listening to us, but buying wine to really help your organization? What are your other suggestions?
I mean, the first thing, you know, the hardest part was most people don't even know we exist.
That's right.
That's a big portion of it. People don't know that African-American winemakers exist. And, you know, why should they? Because there's just not that many. And that's, again, what we're trying to correct.
Yes.
But I think one key element that we want to say is don't look at us and say, oh, we're not saying you should buy our wine. We're saying we make wine too, see if you like it. Wine is personal. You either like it or you like that, and that's okay. But give it a shot. And, you know, going down the line of giving it a shot, you know, on our website, you can, a lot of the members, you can buy their wines right on our website, on the AAAV website, in a one-stop shop. So give the wines a try. If you like it, buy more. If you don't, try something else. Yeah. That's an easy one. Seek us out and try our wine. Not buy our wine, try our wine.
Great advice. So since the big event we've lived in April, as an example, have you seen a lot of people calling you and the association to say, wine business, I never thought about it. I would love a stage, or I would love to do harvest, or I would love to maybe enter a restaurant and learn about wine and become a sommelier. Have you have growing requests in that end?
We've had a huge surge of interest in people wanting to get involved. I mean, just across the board. So even involvement, even could mean joining AAAV at a student level. They just want to be involved. They want to have more awareness around it. And, you know, like I said, we've gone between 300% and 400% since January increase in membership. So there's a lot more involvement. There's a lot more support. I don't know why my doorbell's ringing, but I'm not going to answer it.
Well, I love it. We could take a break if you want. Well, Phil, that was a quick break.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a delivery of yeast.
So you really make wine in your garage as well. Hey, was your dog barking? Is he making wine with you? Because we always need a dog in a winery.
Yeah, he's been the winery dog since he was 6 weeks old, and he's now, you know, 12. And his name is Preston, spelled with 2 S's and a capital T, like you're pressing a ton of grapes.
Yeah.
And I know you have Frenchies. I've been to your winery. I've been down the hallways. I've seen the pictures. So yeah, he's, if Deborah gave me one job and one job only, that's the one I can't screw up. To take care of him. So he's here with me. He's my protector. That's
great.
He's a little 14-pound Havanese.
Well, that's a beautiful dog. Yeah. So bring him next time so he can meet Frenchie, you know.
Oh, I will bring him next time. Okay. I'll bring him next time.
As we sniff our glass, they're going to sniff each other and show us the way.
There you go. Exactly.
So we were on that great topic of the AAAV. And so tell us why diversity is so important to the world, finally.
You know, it's a conversation that needed to be had, and it's really tragic what it took to have the conversation.
That's right.
And, you know, it's an uncomfortable conversation to have among a lot of our citizens in this country. But I think people finally got fed up and said, okay, you know what, enough is enough. Yeah. We have to keep this conversation alive. This is just not right. So, you know, it's tragic that it happened, but it's tragic if we don't keep the conversation happening.
And I'm delighted, you know, frankly, Phil, African-American, as you said, as well as Asian, Indian, and many other nationalities that did not necessarily expect to drink a lot of wine. Take India as an example, really getting into it and very serious about it. Look at China today, the second or third largest vineyard planted in the world, and they really acquired a great appreciation for wine, and it's creating a lot of jobs within that world. So I think it's exciting. It's going to come. Yeah, I think it's going to come.
I think it's going to come. And I think, you know, work through organizations and people like your effort and, you know, Artesa who donated it. All these efforts are going to keep diversifying the industry. And it needs to be in the forefront of our minds, not in the background. We just have to keep the diversity trail.
Yeah, and you've built a great group of wonderful people. We had our good friend Dylan Proctor, of course, on the show. We've had many others, of course, but another great man who is naturally a big winner of the biggest award ever in American football, Will Blackman.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
who is on the selling side of it, promotion side of it. So is it an area as well you promote? Is the selling side too?
Absolutely. We've got at least 2 distributors who are members of AAAV. And yeah, it's all about, it's the industry overall. I mean, if we just, I know the association started AfricanAmerican Vintners, but it's not just winemakers that we need to diversify. It's the whole industry. It doesn't matter what you do. We're going to have a webinar on October 28th with 3 different brands talking about their journey. Theopolis, the McBride sisters, and the Vice Wine. This guy came from Egypt with no money in his pocket. It's a phenomenal story. So it can be done, and it's just how you get there.
That's right. And within the association as well, do you provide a little bit of a counseling, guidelines, path to potential success for all the people applying for it?
Yeah, we're actually posting open jobs on the website, so people can go there. We're actually posting our scholarships, and we're in the process of establishing both an intern and a mentorship program.
And how, I'm a big fan of mentorship program. I really believe we all had a mentor. Mm-hmm. Who was your mentor? Or who is present tense?
Well, it's so interesting. When I was coming up through the ranks in the wine industry, I had a couple, 2, 3 mentors. One was Thomas Coyne, who's unfortunately since passed away. Another was Hal Litsky, which is this retired fireman who makes some wine in the Valley. And it's funny, when Tom died, there's another John Kinney who owns Acasio. I told him, I said, you're my new John. And the funny thing is, all of a sudden, I'm now their mentors.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So I had some great mentors. So that's an important aspect. You always have to give back. Yes. That's really where I think satisfaction I get is, look, people gave back to me and I'm giving back. I mean, home winemakers, I've given equipment to, like, here, just pay it forward. Just go. Just do your thing. And I think it's important to keep giving and keep growing the industry.
And what should people look for into a mentor?
I think honesty. It's just, I'm not afraid to share any secrets, yeast strains. I don't care. It's just being honest and open and willing to work with you, willing to say, not just, sit down with me for 10 minutes. Oh, I got to go. No, come on back with me. Let me show you how to punch down. Let me show you why we punch down. Let me explain what's going on here. So you've really got to find a mentor that really is open to including you in that process. She started out as an intern from Las Positas College, and now she's an employee. And I just wrote her this afternoon a recommendation letter for the master's program at UC Davis, and I sent it to her, and she cried.
Wow, that's great.
So,
motivation.
That's where I get my satisfaction is really keeping the movement of helping others going.
So Phil, you've had incredible success in your creative life, design and architecture, obviously wine now. What makes you, do you think, who you are today?
It kind of harkens back to what we just talked about. Who I am today, I'm still that guy that is going to take the time, sometimes to my GM's, displeasure, to sit down and talk to people. She's like, the reservation's over, and I'm going to be Phil. I'm always going to be Phil. I'm always going to be open. I'm always accessible. I mean, we have, obviously, like you, well, not as many as you, but how many hundreds of people on the ground distributing the wine across the country, feet on the ground. And I do presentations and say, here, here's my email. Just reach out. I'm accessible. I'm not that hidden guy. I'm here. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to strive to be just Phil. That's what I'm going to continue to try to be.
Phil with longevity. So on that note, after
oh, there you go. That's perfect.
Yes. No, that's exciting because, you know, you're really providing for everyone with us today, as well some great guidelines. And as you are, I think it's important to be oneself and to be true to who you are. Mm-hmm. And as well, as you said, to recognize we need mentors and to mentor people, to guide people. We all need guidance. And
we all do.
We all need to recognize the fact that we need and to be open to receive as well as give.
Yeah, the minute you think you know everything in the wine industry, it's time to stop, because there is no end to what you can learn in the wine industry whatsoever. So keep learning, keep sharing what you're doing, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
So what is the area you feel you need to eventually learn more in the wine world? As very kindly you're opening up and you're humble, what is there one area you feel I want to go there and perfect it?
You know, for me, my personal journey, you know, Deborah and I have always been a mom and pop winery, you know, 3,000, 3,500 cases.
That's great.
To now have a national brand that has a potential of 1 million cases, that's a whole new world for me. Yeah. That transition from mom and pop to big business, that is where I probably have learned the most in the past year. It's just and you know it, it's just a different world. It's an entirely different world.
And you're looking forward to that world, right?
Oh yes, I'm embracing that world. It has tremendous potential, and it's exciting. I mean, it was exciting when I got on the road in March. It really sucked when I had to not go anywhere. So no, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm embracing it, and it's so funny. People that, you know, as a peddler, as a small mom and pop, you're peddling, you think you buy a case, what do you think? It's just so different when you get to this level. So
well, I'm with you, and I think I love the expression that growth is a proof of a great life. And you're really showing it. So what is, you know, as an entrepreneur, because it's quite amazing, and a lot of our friends with us today and who will replay our time together will say, I want to be an entrepreneur. How did he do it? So what was the most scary moment for you as coming out to the world and say, I'm going to do this? And what is the biggest satisfaction of it?
I think that very, very first wine Deborah and I made in the garage, this is just such a moment that I'll never forget. We knew what to do, but there's so many things you don't know because you don't know. So we're sitting there pressing the wine, and it's coming out of the press. We're hand cranking this thing, and we're looking at each other. She says, are you going to taste it? I said, no. Are you going to taste it? We didn't even know you could taste the wine at that point.
I love it.
And it was wine. So that was, you know, that was sort of epiphany. But I think honestly, the satisfaction was when we first opened, and it wasn't just about just the wine. It was the experience. And that's one thing we've really learned. The experience is really important. And if you treat people well and you make your home their home, and they're going to come back. If the line was crap, they're not coming back. But if it's at least decent, they're going to come back. They're going to fall in love with the place, the experience, the people. And I think that's what we banked on until I could make better wine.
And you have, because this is a great wine. Congratulations. You want to tell us a few words about the Vintners Select?
Yes. So the Vintners Select are our reserve wines. This is a philosophy.
I'm going to put it next to my heart. You now have 2 hearts.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe so I have 3 hearts.
Yeah, 3 hearts now. Yeah, the funny thing is we had Deborah, which is our Rhone blend, and then we started Phil, which is named after Deborah. Then we had philosophy, named after me. And then
I
eventually,
love that one. Philosophy is such a great one.
and then we have a wine called Preston as well. So he has a wine, and though that's also another Bordeaux blend. And each family member had a wine named after him. Now my son's the assistant winemaker. Who knows what's going to happen next? But
That's pretty cool.
yeah, this is a blend with Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Merlot, as I recall.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
And what were you looking for in this wine? Because we're the only two tasting it, and we have many people very jealous as they're watching us.
I
go on your website and get it.
Yes, I've been trying. Well, actually, we're actually blending the next batch right now, but I've really been trying to make a big California Bordeaux blend that's more true to California than to Bordeaux. No offense.
No, I love it. It has to be known as a California blend. Forget Bordeaux.
Okay.
We love them, but at a distance.
So that's the goal. And that's the goal, is to really, again, you learn just how important Cabernet is in this world. I mean, it's really important. So we've now gone to literally starting from vineyards, planting from scratch to try to work with the same fruit year after year after year after year. And we're just going to continue to try to improve.
And I love it, because this is really the meaning of philosophy: improving your mind, improving your thinking. I love how you break it up with phil.osophy, which is great. And I love the fact, like, you're promoting Livermore Valley, which is so great.
Yeah, Livermore Valley is a fantastic valley. I mean, we're about 50 wineries strong now. We opened in 2008. We were voted Livermore Valley's Winery of the Year in 2018. And it's a real tight community. I love being there. I love the fact that I can ask any neighbor for anything, and we're right there and help each other.
That's great. So Phil, what's your dream?
The dream.
I know you have many. The one you're really willing to share.
Well, you mean beside being you?
Besides having a great date with Jen, I know that the sparkles in both of your eyes was really happening a few moments ago.
All right, we can edit that out, right? Seriously, Deborah and I's dream, and this is the total truth, we've been wanting to have vineyards, home, and winery in one place.
Yeah, great.
One place. So that's still the dream, and I think we're gonna be able to make that happen here in the next few years.
That's so exciting. You're on your way. The dream is going to become execution. So then in the next few months, when you make this happen, I'm going to come back and ask you the next dream.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the next dream after that is for me to retire. I think that's going to be the next dream.
But what would you do retiring? You're too active for that. Do you really believe in retirement?
It's especially in the wine industry, as long as you can point.
Yeah. Our world is so social that it's so great to meet people. Yeah. I mean, what's life about is others, right?
Yeah, I've got 6 grandkids, so there's some time. There's some time there.
Well, you need to show them how to do the pigeage.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. One of them, Connor, what is he, 6? He's already smelling the dump bucket. Like, what is that smell? So,
well, don't have him taste it yet.
No, yeah, I'm just not chasing that.
Maybe in the vinegar basket.
Maybe so. But that's the dream right now. Who knows what it's going to be, and who knows what the future's gonna hold. We'll see. We're just gonna try to take it day at a time.
Well, that's great too. So fabulous wine, by the way. Great Bordeaux blend.
Oh,
Phil, last moment, big question. Because you're a wise man, you're a man who've done so many great things in your life, including the family legacy who's going to continue. Remember, longevity means length of life, and we recognize the best wines through living throughout centuries. So maybe your grandkids will continue.
I hope.
What big message, Phil, do you have among all the things you do, from obviously the association, to your own brands, to all your involvement, to all our friends listening today. We are in 2020, soon going to 2021.
Mm-hmm. Very quickly.
What's your big address?
You know what? Just never ever let go of your dream. Don't let anybody else tell you you can't do it. I mean, I grew up in Inglewood, California.
Yep.
Didn't even know what wine was, and look where I am. So you can achieve your dreams. You just have to not stop pursuing them. Just never stop. It'll happen. It will happen.
I love it. You give me goosebumps. God, I'm going to drink more longevity. Well, very exciting, Phil. I really want to thank you for accepting to be with us. And I really want to thank you on the behalf of all of us in the wine world to really help us, one, to make realize, but second, even more importantly, to bring more of African Americans and all nationalities, all walks of life, as you said so well as well, all, origins, skin colors to religion into the world of wine. As a president, you have a big mission. We're delighted to give back to you, and we trust you to obviously empower people to get into it and to love our world. And we want to commend you for building longevity and being such a great personality and ultimately such a great person. And I think this is what I love about the wine world, Phil, is meeting people like you and being humbled by your great path and being energized by your great personality and wanting to have a lot more wine glasses together.
We should do that. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the work you're doing. We just have to all keep striving to get to one place, and that one place where everybody's just human.
Very well said. So I put longevity, I'm bringing unity to it. I'm blending.
You're blending
our two regions, Livermore, Napa Valley, to you.
Cheers.
And thank you, Phil. Take care.
Thank you, Charles. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.